very good morning to all of you, and a very happy New Year to many parts of India. Secretary Dr. M. Ravichandran, DG Dr. M. Mahapatra, colleagues from Ministry of Earth Sciences and IMD, and friends from the media, welcome you all to this press conference for releasing the long-range forecast of Southwest Monsoon 2022. I will now request Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary Ministry of Earth Sciences, to give his opening remarks.
Very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for coming, and welcome to this press brief on long-range forecast of rainfall for Southwest Monsoon 2022. As you all know, India Meteorological Department of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, issue long-range forecast for the Southwest Monsoon rainfall over the country in two stages. One in April, almost middle April, and one in early June or the late May. In the first stage, the forecast of the monsoon season, June to September, rainfall for the country as a whole is issued today. Traditionally, India Meteorological Department provide monsoon forecast for seasonal outlook using statistical models, statistical forecast. From the year 2017, it was started dynamical forecast system using ocean atmosphere coupled model to forecast the monsoon rainfall for a season as a whole, and also various sub-seasonal timescales and district level nowcast and forecast. From last year, multi-model ensemble was started. It is basically using many models for a seasonal prediction of monsoon rainfall and average, as well as spatial distribution of the rainfall over many models, so that to reduce the uncertainty of the prediction. This year too, we have come out with the monsoon forecast, seasonal rainfall, using both dynamical and statistical model. Of course, statistical is one way, it is well tested for long traditional we are using, and the dynamical is the recent one. Of course, it is a physical based one. For a dynamical forecast system as well as statistical, lot of observation goes into the model. It is not only from the land-based, whatever traditionally IMD is measuring, like AWS, balloon, as well as radar and other observations, but also it goes satellite observations provided by ISRO, as well as the ocean observation from many institutions of Ministry of Earth Sciences also contribute for various observations. So this model forecast, it is not only observation, but also various understanding, knowledge gathering from the ocean as well as in the atmosphere, and model setup and running, and also finally the dissemination of the forecast. Of course, as I mentioned, there are various institutions within the ministry, like starting from National Institute of Ocean Technology, Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, and Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. And of course, the main prime mover is the all synthesized report by IMD, apart from various observations, satellite observation by ISRO. All get together. It is a collaborative effort so that we bring out this forecast. Of course, model from many other countries also used for the multi-model ensemble. There are many model outputs is available from international scene. So that is also we have make use of this one. So coming back to this year, 2022 Southwest Monsoon season, that means June to September, rainfall over the country as a whole is most likely to be normal. That is 99% of the long period average with model error of plus or minus 5%. The long period average of the season rainfall over the country as a whole for the period 1971 to 2020 is about 87 centimeter. Of course, we will provide the detailed presentation, and my colleague Dr. Mahapatra, Director General of IMD, will provide the detailed presentation about this forecast. And we will have interactions and discussion after that. Thank you very much.
I request the friends who are joined interactively, kindly mute your microphones, please. Yeah.
So welcome to this press conference on long-range forecast of monsoon 2022. Respected Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences, senior colleagues from Minister of Earth Sciences, distinguished friends from press and electronic media. So today, जैसे ने सेक्रेटरी महोदय ने बताया कि हम 2022 के जून से सितंबर में होने वाले बारिश का पूर्वानुमान जारी कर रहे हैं। ये दीर्घावधि पूर्वानुमान है और ये फर्स्ट स्टेज पूर्वानुमान है। सेकेंड स्टेज पूर्वानुमान मई महीने की एंड में जारी होगा और आज के पूर्वानुमान के हिसाब से पूरी देश में दक्षिण पश्चिम मानसून ऋतुनिष्ठ जून से सितंबर वर्षा का परिमाण सामान्य रहने का संभावना है। जब हम इसको सामान्य बोलते हैं, इसका मतलब होता है कि वर्षा का परिमाण लॉन्ग पीरियड एवरेज की 96% से 104% के अंदर रहने का संभावना है। मात्रात्मक रूप से देखें तो इस बार जो हमारे दीर्घावधि पूर्वानुमान है, इसके हिसाब से फॉर कंट्री एज ए होल वर्षा का परिमाण 99% ऑफ लॉन्ग पीरियड एवरेज होने का पूर्वानुमान है। और ये जो मॉडल है इसका एरर होता है ±5%, यानी पूर्वानुमान है कि दीर्घावधि रेनफॉल का 99% विथ ±5%। और जो लॉन्ग पीरियड एवरेज होता है वो एवरेज अभी 1971 से 2020 तक जो रेनफॉल की आंकड़ा है इसके ऊपर परिभाषित है, इसके ऊपर कैलकुलेशन होता है और ये रेनफॉल होता है लगभग 87 सेंटीमीटर। आज हम जैसे सेक्रेटरी महोदय ने बताया एक नया घोषणा भी कर रहे हैं, वो है कि जो रेनफॉल नॉर्मल हम यूज़ करते हैं डेली रेनफॉल समरी बनाने के लिए, क्लाइमेटोलॉजी बनाने के लिए, वो पहले 1961 से 2010 जो 50 साल का पीरियड है इसके ऊपर आधारित था। ये हम 2019 में इंट्रोड्यूस किए थे। अभी 2020 तक जो हम रेनफॉल डाटा मिल गया इसको लेकर न्यू नॉर्मल इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं इस साल। वो 1 जून 2022 से इफेक्टिव होगा और ये न्यू नॉर्मल के हिसाब से रेनफॉल मानसून सीजन का है 87 सेंटीमीटर और पहले जो नॉर्मल था 1961 टू 2010 तक उसमें नॉर्मल रेनफॉल था 88 सेंटीमीटर। अभी हम आपको डिटेल से बताएंगे ये प्रेजेंटेशन के द्वारा।
मेरा फिर से आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि काइंडली म्यूट योर माइक्रोफोन्स प्लीज। आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू म्यूट योर माइक्रोफोन्स प्लीज।
As all of us know, there has been demand from various users and government authorities to provide the long-range forecast in smaller spatial domain. Considering this demand, India Meteorological Department and Minister of Earth Sciences introduced the new scheme of forecasting the rainfall during monsoon season last year, and that scheme is also being implemented this year, and this scheme is called as multi-model ensemble MME forecasting scheme, and this scheme is based on the coupled global climate models taken from different global climate prediction centers, and we go for a robust statistical processing to find out which models are best, and based on the best models available in the world, including the Monsoon Mission Climate Forecast System model of Ministry of Earth Sciences, we have prepared the rainfall forecast for 2022. Now, this multimodal ensemble scheme is a universally accepted technique, and it has been proved that the forecast accuracy of multimodal ensemble scheme is better than the individual dynamic model. Now, just going into little details about this new strategy of long range forecast, the first stage of forecast is being issued around middle of April. Just like today we are issuing the first stage of forecast for the rainfall June to September for the country as a whole, and also the spatial pattern of probability of forecast of rainfall over different parts of the country. This probability is being provided in three categories, that is normal, below normal and above normal category of rainfall possibilities. Now this forecast will be updated by a second stage forecast to be issued towards end of May. There we will update the forecast being issued today, as well as we will also provide what is the quantitative amount of rainfall expected over 4 different homogeneous regions like Northwest India, East and Northeast India, Central India and South India. We will also provide at that time the forecast for the monsoon convergence zone. This monsoon convergence zone is nothing but the Central India, almost extending from Gujarat, Rajasthan to Odisha, and this area is almost a rain-fed area. Therefore, from last year we decided that we should give a specific forecast for the MCZ, which is a rain-fed area in the country mostly. Apart from that, also like last year, we will issue the forecast for the month of June by end of May. The forecast of July also will be issued, forecast of August will be issued, and this forecast will be updated by each month till the end of the season. Now, if you just look at the forecast performance of this new scheme, apart from the statistical dynamical model what we have, we find that the operational forecast which was issued during 2021, it has come almost correct except the month of August. In the month of August, the prediction went wrong as rainfall was deficient, being 76% of the long period average. Now, if I just look at the observed rainfall in 2021 June to September and the actual and the forecast rainfall for June to September 2021, these two maps comparison indicate that the spatial distribution of rainfall in terms of above normal probability, below normal probability and normal probability could be predicted largely during 2021. Apart from that, the total amount of rainfall quantitatively was 99%, which is also predicted as the normal rainfall. Now, when we are going to provide the 99% of the long period average, the long period average is calculated for 1971 to 2020 period. Based on this, the long period average rainfall during June to September comes out to be 868.6 millimeter or roughly 87 centimeter. Earlier normal was 880.6 millimeter based on data of 1961 to 2020. So hence there is a slight decrease in amount of rainfall based on the period of 1971 to 2020 as compared to 1961 to 2010. Similarly, if you consider the new all India annual rainfall based on 1971 to 2020, it is 1160.1 mm compared to earlier normal of 1176.9 mm. And hence, there is also slight decrease in amount of total rainfall during the year as a whole. Now, these statistics has been calculated with the enhanced rainfall network, rain gauge network in the country, and at present, the statistics is based on 4,132 rain gauge stations. If I calculate what is the contribution of monsoon rainfall to the entire country for the entire year, it comes out about 75%, 74.9%. So if I calculate based on the previous normal, it is also coming out of the same proportion. If I consider the rainfall in June, July, August, September, it is coming out to be 19.1%, 32.3%, 29.4%, and 19.3% of the total southwest monsoon rainfall. What I want to say by giving these figures, that the proportion of rainfall from the monthly value to the seasonal value does not change while you go for changing the rainfall normal. Similarly, the amount of rainfall being contributed by the southwest monsoon season to the annual rainfall also does not change. And the pre-monsoon season contributes about 11% of annual rainfall, and post-monsoon season about 10% of annual rainfall. Now, if you consider different meteorological subdivisions, Gujarat region depends some maximum over the southwest monsoon rainfall, that is 96% of rainfall in southwest monsoon season contributes to annual rainfall. While Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, they receive maximum rainfall in post-monsoon season, October to December, that is 48% of annual rainfall, followed by 36% during southwest monsoon season. Now, if you just look at same value what I have written here, this is in tabular form. So, what you find in winter, that is January, February. So, 1961 to 2010 rainfall, if you just look at, it is 40.8 mm, and 1971 to 2020, if you just look at, it is 39.8 mm. The percentage contribution of annual rainfall, if I just look, it was 3.5%, and now it is 3.4%. So, there is no significant change in the amount of rainfall. During pre-monsoon season, also you find that there is not much change. It was 131.7 millimeter, now it is 130.6 millimeter. Southwest monsoon, as I told you, there is a slight decrease, and post-monsoon season, earlier it was 123.8 mm, now it is 121.0 mm. So, there is no significant change. And percentage contribution as written here, it remains almost same during the period of 1961 to 2010, 1971 to 2020. Now, if I just look at month-wise also, you can find out the same statistics. All these informations are given in press release. So, there is no such significant change if you consider from one period to another period. Now, then the question arises, why this slight decrease in rainfall activity in monsoon season when you go from 1961 to 2010 to 1971 to 2020. This diagram shows the decadal average rainfall departure from the long-term mean. What you find that monsoon season rainfall shows an epochal behavior. That means for certain decades it continues as dry epoch, in certain decades it continues as wet epoch. So, if you consider at present since 1971 decade, you will find that Indian monsoon rainfall is passing through a dry decade, and the dry decade peak has been over. Now it is reviving. At present, the latest 2011 to 2020, if you just consider, it is just 3.8% below the long period mean. And the trend suggests that by the period of 2021 to 2030, it will become near normal, and by 2031 to 2040, it will become a wet epoch. Now, if I just look at how is the rain gauge which has been utilized to define this rainfall normal, you find that it is about more than 4,000 stations and uniformly distributed over the country. Now, you may be anxious to know how is the change spatially. So, you can find out this is the rainfall distribution based on the new normal. There is no change in the spatial distribution of rainfall. This is for winter season, then monsoon season, post-monsoon season, pre-monsoon season, and year as a whole. The region which used to get the higher rainfall, that is being depicted in the new normal. Now, if I just compare the 1961 to 2010 and 1971 to 2020 meteorological subdivision wise, then what we find actually, the northeastern states, especially Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, in the monsoon season as a whole, if you just look at, and also individual months, they are getting less rainfall normally during the period 1971 to 2020 as compared to during the period 1961 to 2010. At the same time, the West Central India, especially Saurashtra Kutch, Rajasthan and West MP, this area is getting higher rainfall during 1971 to 2020 as compared to 1961 to 2010. Now, let us see some large-scale features which influence the Indian monsoon. As all of us know that El Nino or La Nina are the crucial factors which influences the Indian monsoon, and also the Indian Ocean dipole also matters to a large extent for the Indian monsoon. But if I compare the El Nino Southern Oscillation and Indian Ocean dipole, we will find that El Nino and La Nina has the higher association as compared to Indian Ocean dipole, but there are certain years where Indian Ocean dipole has also played a major role. In a nutshell, I want to say that El Nino is usually associated with below normal rainfall or deficient rainfall, La Nina is usually associated with the higher rainfall, that is above normal rainfall or excess rainfall. But I want to say that there is no one-to-one relationship between El Nino, La Nina and the Indian monsoon, though it is a major factor. Similarly, Indian ocean dipole, if I consider, the positive Indian ocean dipole is good for Indian monsoon and negative Indian ocean dipole is not good or is unfavorable for Indian monsoon. So when I say positive Indian ocean dipole, that means the western part of equatorial Indian Ocean is warmer and eastern part of equatorial Indian Ocean is cooler. That is positive Indian Ocean dipole. And opposite happens in the negative Indian Ocean dipole. And if I just look at El Nino La Nina conditions, yes, this year what is the status we can look at in the next slides. Okay, so this is the latest global sea surface temperature departures. If you just look at the top diagram, you will find that ellipse drawn in red circle indicates the area where you have got the blue color. That indicates that the temperature over the central equatorial Pacific and east equatorial Pacific are below the long period average, whereas the west equatorial Pacific is above the normal conditions. So this is called as the La Nina. So if you just look at this condition, it is a La Nina, so therefore it is good. If you consider only La Nina, El Nino condition, it is good for Indian monsoon. And if I calculate the average temperature, so Nino 3.4 area, which is most favorable area associated with the Indian monsoon, it shows minus 0.9 degree Celsius. Now, if you look at the recent evolution of the temperature over the equatorial Pacific, that also you will find that all blue color you are finding out in the latest time. That means it is in the negative side of the normal, that is below normal temperature. Now, you can just look at to a little depth of the ocean up to say 300 meters. What you find that it is warming over the west equatorial Indian Ocean and it is cooling up to a height of depth of about 150 meters or so over the central equatorial Pacific, and that indicates that the positive anomalies are now restricted to the West Pacific, mostly at depth and near the surface in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Now, if I just look at the latest forecast for El Nino and La Nina from different international models, it shows that the blue color indicates the La Nina conditions. So, La Nina is favored to continue into the northern hemispheric summer, that is 53% chance during June to August 2022, with a 40 to 50% chance of La Nina or ENSO neutral thereafter. So, therefore, at least up to middle of the monsoon season, we can expect the La Nina conditions to continue. And thereafter, it could be the neutral ENSO conditions. A majority of models, as you can find out from the right hand side diagram, indicate La Nina is to continue and then transition to ENSO neutral conditions. Now, if I just look at our monsoon mission climate forecast system of Ministry of Earth Sciences, here also it is similar and its forecast is identical. It is also suggesting that La Nina conditions to continue during monsoon season. Now, if I just look at the Indian Ocean dipole, it is depicted on the right hand side diagram. The top one is the positive Indian Ocean dipole and the bottom one diagram is the negative Indian Ocean dipole. So, positive Indian Ocean dipole is good for Indian monsoon. Here also you can find out that this model indicates negative Indian Ocean dipole likely to develop during the season. So, at present you have got neutral conditions, but negative Indian Ocean dipole is also expected, and negative Indian Ocean dipole has the unfavorable impact on the monsoon. So, now I am coming to the final forecast. So, considering the large scale features, you have got La Nina, which is favorable, and IOD, which is expected to be unfavorable. But I want to say that the forecast of IOD is more uncertain as compared to the forecast of El Nino and La Nina. And as our secretary was briefing you, the forecast which is being issued operationally by India Meteorological Department takes into consideration the dynamical monsoon mission climate forecast system and also the statistical ensemble forecasting system developed in-house. So, in this concern, I want to say that all these developed models are in-house development within the Ministry of Earth Sciences and India Meteorological Department. So, if I just look at the probabilistic distribution of rainfall from this map itself, you can find out that rainfall is almost uniformly distributed over the country except the northeastern states, the northern parts of the northwest India, and extreme southern parts of South Peninsula. So, extreme southern part of South Peninsula, northeastern states, and extreme northern parts of northwest India are expected to get below normal rainfall. Otherwise, remaining parts of the country are expected to have normal to above normal rainfall. I just want to mention here, for quite a long time, as we have seen 1961-2010 comparisons 1971 to 2020, the rainfall over northeastern states shows a decrease in the recent years. Now I will come to summary. Southwest monsoon seasonal June to September rainfall over the country as a whole is most likely to be normal, 96 to 104% of long period average. Quantitatively, the monsoon seasonal rainfall June to September is likely to be 99% of the long period average with a model error of plus minus 5%. The long period average of the season rainfall over the country as a whole based on 1971 to 2020 is 87 centimeter. Currently, La Nina conditions are prevailing over the equatorial Pacific region. As all the climate models suggest, La Nina conditions are likely to continue during monsoon season, at least till the middle of the season. And at present, neutral IOD conditions prevail over the Indian Ocean, and the latest forecast indicate that IOD conditions should continue till beginning of southwest monsoon season. Thereafter, there is enhanced probability that negative IOD condition will prevail during the season. So, IMD will issue the updated forecast of monsoon season towards end of May 2022, and at that time, we will issue forecast which is updated of today's forecast, and also the forecast for the month of June and homogeneous rainfalls over the country like Northwest India, Eastern Northeast India, Central India, and South Peninsula. We will also at that time issue forecast for the rain-fed area, that is the monsoon convergence zone covering mainly the central part of the country. मैं अभी आप सभी को दक्षिण पश्चिम मानसून वर्षा के लिए पूर्वानुमान का सारांश हिंदी में बता रहा हूँ। पूरे देश में दक्षिण पश्चिम मानसून ऋतुनिष्ठ जून से सितंबर वर्षा सामान्य यानी 96% से 104% के अंदर रहने का संभावना है। मात्रात्मक रूप से देखें तो मानसून ऋतु में वर्षा का परिमाण 99% प्लस माइनस 5% होने का पूर्वानुमान है, और लॉन्ग पीरियड एवरेज यानी दीर्घावधि औसत जून टू सितंबर महीना तक लगभग 87 सेंटीमीटर है, जो कि 1971 टू 2020 पीरियड का डाटा के ऊपर आधारित है। वर्तमान में भूमध्य रेखीय और प्रशांत क्षेत्र में ला नीना की स्थिति प्रचलित है, और अभी ये सूचना मिलता है कि ये ला नीना की स्थिति कंटिन्यू करेगा एटलीस्ट मिडल ऑफ द मानसून सीजन, और इसके बाद एंसो न्यूट्रल कंडीशन होने का संभावना है। वर्तमान में हिंद महासागर में जो ऊपर तटस्थ आईओडी कंडीशंस है, इसमें देखें तो अभी ये न्यूट्रल कंडीशंस जारी है, और मानसून सीजन शुरुआत के टाइम तक शायद ये नेगेटिव इंडियन ओशन डाइपोल होने का हमारा पूर्वानुमान है। हम ये सभी जो पूर्वानुमान आज जारी कर रहे हैं, इसका अपडेट एंड ऑफ मई में जारी करेंगे। इसमें 4 होमोजेनस क्षेत्र का पूर्वानुमान भी जारी करेंगे, जून महीने का रेनफॉल का पूर्वानुमान भी जारी करेंगे, और जो मानसून कन्वर्जेंस जोन यानी जो रेनफेड एरिया होता है सेंट्रल पार्ट ऑफ कंट्री, इसके लिए भी स्पेशल फोरकास्ट जारी करेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. If you have any questions, yeah.
The very first question, what was the need for changing the new normal thing?
Yeah, so as for the practice, every 10 years we go for change of normal. It is the international practice to take into consideration the various aspects. One of the aspects that there is a climate variability which changes over the period of time. The second aspect is that the number of rain gauge stations also increases over the period of time, and it becomes more uniformly distributed as you go over the period of time. So therefore it becomes more realistic, and also it caters to the requirement of the smaller regions and the specific locations.
Basically, the normal also is taken recent one. That's it.
आपसे अभी बोला कि 2019 में वो लास्ट वाला लागू किया था, तो अभी तो 2-3 साल में तो अब दशक में
मैं आपको ये मुझे खुशी हो रहा है आपको बताने के लिए, जो लास्ट टाइम 2019 में हम जो इंट्रोड्यूस किया था वो 1961 से 2010 तक जो डाटा था इसके ऊपर आधारित था। सो इस बार जो हम इशू कर रहे हैं वो 1971 से 2020 की डाटा के ऊपर आधारित है। ये मैं आपको बताने के लिए मैंने आई एम फीलिंग हैप्पी दैट इन ए वेरी शॉर्ट टाइम विद इन ए पीरियड ऑफ 2 years we could update our normals, which was taking earlier little more time. It is mainly because we have gone for some kind of automated processes of data reception, data validation and calibration of the instruments.
सर यही मैं जानना चाह रहा था, ये जो 3 साल 2 साल में आपने इसको बदला, इसके लिए जिस तरह का डेटा बदला है, मतलब आपके रेन गेज स्टेशंस का नंबर कितना बढ़ गया है या और इनपुट्स में क्वांटिटेटिव कितना डिफरेंस है, वो अगर कुछ बता पाए ताकि ये अनुमान लग सके कि ये क्यों बढ़ा, मतलब और इतनी जल्दी कैसे हुआ।
जैसे हमने बताया कि हमारा जो रेनगेज स्टेशन से लगभग 1000 रेनगेज स्टेशन अभी बढ़ गया पास्ट नॉर्मल से अभी प्रेजेंट नॉर्मल के तक। अभी प्रेजेंट नॉर्मल में 4139 स्टेशन हम कंसिडर किए हैं। इट इज़ गिवन इन द प्रेस रिलीज। और
पहले 1000 कम थे, मतलब 3000
लगभग 3000 समथिंग था। और अभी जो आप रेनफॉल नेटवर्क में दिखाया आपको, इससे पता चलता है कि अभी रेनगेज स्टेशन आर यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ओवर द कंट्री। कभी कुछ डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स अभी रिप्रेजेंटेड नहीं था, मगर अभी लगभग ऑल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स आर रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय दिस न्यू नॉर्मल एंड न्यू रेनगेज स्टेशंस। और जो कितना जल्दी कैसे किया, इसका मतलब यही रहा कि हमारा जो प्रोसेस था द रिसेप्शन ऑफ डेटा, मैनुअल प्रोसेस था पहले, अभी ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस में डाटा कलेक्शन हो रहा है, ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस में डाटा वैलिडेशन हो रहा है, ऑटोमेटेड प्रोसेस में स्टैटिस्टिक्स भी बन रहा है, एक डिसीजन सपोर्ट सिस्टम इसके लिए भी बना गया है। अभी मैं ये इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको देना चाहता हूँ, कोई भी जनरल पब्लिक, कोई भी रिसर्चर हमारा डाटा को यूटिलाइज करने के लिए चाहें, वो डाटा हमारा जो क्लाइमेट रिसर्च सर्विसेज का एक डाटा पोर्टल डेवलप किया गया लास्ट ईयर, इसमें भी डाटा आप उपलब्ध कर सकते हैं।
सर ये जो आपने ऑटोमेटेड बोला, उसमें केवल एक सवाल के लिए पूछना कि वो कई जगह ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि वो नहीं मिल पा रहा और डेटा रेगुलरली वो बीच बीच में मिसिंग रहता है। मैं ये एग्जांपल इसलिए दे रहा हूँ, मैं एक टेम्परेचर रोज देखना चाहता हूँ वृंदावन का, मथुरा वृंदावन यूपी में, लेकिन वो लंबे टाइम से वहाँ पर नॉट अवेलेबल गैप आ रहा है, एक आध महीना हो गया। तो मैं ये केवल इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपके पास कई डेटा ऐसे भी तो होंगे अभी भी कि जो नहीं आते होंगे।
ऐसा एक साइंटिफिक प्रोसेस हम फॉलो करते हैं जो कि इंटरनेशनल एक्सेप्टेड है। जो स्टेशन का डाटा नहीं मिल रहा है इसको हम नेग्लेक्ट करते हैं, जो नया स्टेशन का डाटा मिल रहा है इसको हम कंसिडर करते हैं, मगर हम होमोजेनिटी देखते हैं, डाटा का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन देखते हैं, जैसे कि वेल रिप्रेजेंटेड हो और ऑल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को रिप्रेजेंट करें।
Sir, I just want to ask, overall, I mean, the trend seems to be that, the average monsoon is decreasing. I mean, because especially if you look at the normal 89, 88 days there. But in the last few years, we are also seeing that, there would be long dry spells, for example, in August or someone, and suddenly there is an increase in September, and 1920 we saw exceptionally high rainfall. So now, how do you factor in things like this? Is there some larger climatological change that is happening, and now that is finally getting reflected in the official reports? Or is there a comment?
Yeah, actually speaking, yes, there is a external forcing. It is mainly earlier we used to say like what major things are El Nino, La Nina, like that we are looking at it. Then later on it has come IOD, Indian Ocean, these things. Then even when you talk about last year, the major drivers are from Atlantic Nino also. So then the September mainly governed by even polar region or southern region. So various regions are influencing. So now that's what that type of things will be updated only not per seasonal total, but once the next monthly wise we will be able to update. But there are lot of external forcing acting on this. Maybe in the longer time scale, maybe more and more. Of course, we are also know that the rainfall patterns also changing. Not only spatial distribution as well as the intra-seasonal and other time scales also it is changing. Yes, mainly in the external.
I just want to add here what Secretary has told, that there is a slight decrease. As I told you earlier, it was 88 centimeter, now it is 87 centimeter. At the same time, I explained you that it is passing through a negative epoch. Now negative epoch
Decadal.
it has completed. Now it is moving towards positive side. Now the departure from long-term mean is only minus 3.8, and we are expecting next departure will be close to normal, and after that it will become positive again. So it is a part of decadal variability of Indian summer monsoon. If you look at the long-term trend, we do not find any such trend for country as a whole. But you are true when you say that the temporal variability within the season itself, sometimes there is large dry spells and sometimes there is large wet spells, though total rainfall remains same. So that we have found out, and there is impact of climate change, and number of days of heavy rainfall is increasing, number of days of light to moderate rainfall is decreasing. So that is one of the reasons why sometimes you get larger dry spells and larger wet spells.
So now the next All India update will be after 10 years only now?
Yes. Again, normally we update after 10 years. But further, I just want to mention here, we have, considering all these impacts of heavy rainfall, of climate change, we have brought out the reports for each and every state based on past 30 years data, and these are available in IMD website.
सर ये इसमें एक चीज़ और बताएं कि आपने अभी 10 years से जो नया नॉर्मल लिया है उसके पहले का ये 880.6 काफ़ी लंबे समय से था, तो ये उसके पहले कितना था? अगर पिछले 5 अगर कोई डिफरेंस हुआ हो?
Yeah, this is 89, then 88, then 87.
89 कब से था सर?
1951 to 2000, then 1961 to 2010.
वो इंट्रोड्यूस कब किया था?
वही होता है, it was being delayed by about 7 to 8 years,
Earlier it
but
was
now
very
we have
slow.
made it within 2 years.
Oh, please place your mic.
You just press.
So can you give a broad reasoning behind this non-focus? Is it the Arvida effect primarily, or are there any other reasons which are?
Now, if you just look at this forecast of this year is the normal rainfall. If you consider the large scale processes, La Nina is favorable, IOD is unfavorable, so it becomes neutral by that way. And whatever models we have, whether it is statistical ensemble forecasting system or whether it is monsoon mission climate forecast system, both the models are suggesting that it will be a normal rainfall in the range of 96 to 104% of the long period average, and quantitatively we have predicted to be 99% of the long period average. Can we take some questions from outside in the VC?
Yeah, please introduce yourself and then ask the question.
मार्च में दिल्ली के अंदर देखा कि रेनफॉल डेफिसिट भी बहुत ज्यादा रहा और साथ में 122 साल का गर्मी का रिकॉर्ड भी टूटा। गर्मी का भी हमने देखा, और बीच में अगर हम आगे पिछले कुछ दिनों की बात करें तो इसके परसेंटेज भी बहुत इंक्रीज आई है, खासकर 29 मार्च से लेके 11 तारीख तक 11। तो
जी।
इस बार क्या हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि जो बारिश होगी वो इस बार जो है वो दिल्ली में एक डेफिसिट जो है उसको ओवरकम कर जाएगी, और साथ में क्या नॉर्मल रहने वाला है जो मानसून में बारिश की बात करें केवल दिल्ली के लिए?
या सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको ये प्रश्न पूछने के लिए। मैं आपको ये सूचना देना चाहता हूँ कि आज जो हम पूर्वानुमान जारी किए हैं ये एक दीर्घावधि पूर्वानुमान है, और फॉर कंट्री एज ए होल पूर्वानुमान है, और एक स्पाशियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसे बारिश रहेगा इसके एक प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक आंकड़ा जारी किया गया है। इसमें कोई एक लोकेशन स्पेसिफिक स्मॉलर एरिया स्पेसिफिक फोरकास्ट हम जारी नहीं किए हैं, और ये पॉसिबल नहीं है अभी जारी करना और ये बोलना कि दिल्ली में अगले सीजन में कितना बारिश होगा। मगर हम इसको फॉलोअप करते हुए हमारा जो एक्सटेंडेड रेंज फोरकास्ट होते हैं हम इसी को कवर करते हैं। इसके साथ साथ हम एवरी डे 5 डेज फोरकास्ट जारी करते हैं, जिसमें हम लोकेशन स्पेसिफिक फोरकास्ट देते हैं और वार्निंग देते हैं। फिर इसको फॉलो करते हुए हर दिन हर 3 घंटे हम नाउकास्ट यानी वेरी शॉर्ट रेंज फोरकास्ट भी देते हैं। दूसरा जो आपका प्रश्न था कि ये जो हीटिंग हुआ है, यस, हीटिंग इस बार 2 स्पेल में हीट वेव स्पेल अभी तक हुआ है। एक स्पेल था कमेंसिंग फ्रॉम 2nd वीक ऑफ मार्च, और दूसरा स्पेल शुरू हुआ 27 मार्च को। दोनों स्पेल पहले सौराष्ट्र एंड कच्छ और एडजॉइनिंग साउथ राजस्थान में शुरू हुआ और धीरे धीरे ईस्टवर्ड बढ़ा और नॉर्थ वेस्टवर्ड बढ़ा, और इसके प्रभाव में पंजाब, हरियाणा, राजस्थान, यूपी, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, उस सभी इलाका में हीट वेव देखने को मिला। इसके साथ साथ छत्तीसगढ़, इंटीरियर उड़ीसा, नॉर्दर्न पार्ट्स ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, तेलंगाना, नॉर्थ आंध्र प्रदेश में भी हीट वेव देखने को मिला। टेम्परेचर इवन जम्मू, हिमाचल प्रदेश, उत्तराखंड में भी 4 से 7 डिग्री सेल्सियस ज़्यादा रिकॉर्ड हुआ है। मगर ये जो रिकॉर्ड किया गया ये पहला बार ऐसे नहीं है। 2017 में और 2019 में भी मार्च महीने में और अप्रैल फर्स्ट फोर्टनाइट में हीट वेव रिकॉर्ड किया गया था। मगर जो 27 मार्च को स्पेल शुरू हुआ, 11 अप्रैल तक कंटिन्यू किया, लगभग 2 वीक्स, इसका जो ड्यूरेशन था और इंटेंसिटी था थोड़ा ज़्यादा था। मगर मैं ये आपको बोलना चाहता हूँ, जो हीट वेव कंडीशंस अभी हुआ कि जो गर्मी चल रहा है, इसका जो लॉन्ग रेंज फोरकास्ट ऑफ मानसून हम इशू कर रहे हैं, इसके साथ कोई 1-to-1 रिलेशन नहीं है।
सितंबर में सामान्य रेनफॉल होगा या फिर सामान्य से नीचे होगा?
अभी जो हम पूर्वानुमान जारी किए हैं वो पूरी सीजन का पूर्वानुमान है। सितंबर का पूर्वानुमान हम अभी जारी नहीं किए हैं। सितंबर का पूर्वानुमान हम अगस्त एंड में जारी करेंगे और तब पता चलेगा कि सितंबर पूर्वानुमान कैसे रहेगा। मगर मैं आपको ये बोलना चाहता हूँ कि अभी जो लार्ज स्केल प्रोसेस के हमने बात किए हैं, इसमें जून टू अगस्त पीरियड में लानिना कंडीशन रहने का उम्मीद है। इसके बाद एनसो न्यूट्रल लानिना एलिनो कंडीशन सितंबर में होने का हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं।
Any other questions?
Is there any prediction of the onset of monsoon dates? Will it be delayed or the onset will be normal in most of the areas?
As a standard procedure, the onset of monsoon over Kerala is predicted around 15th of May. So we'll issue forecast this year also around 15th of May.
Any other questions?
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Anjali. I'm calling back from Beijing Express Pune. My question is, what could be the possible reasons for the decrease in rainfall over the northeast, vis-a-vis increase in rainfall over Gujarat, Maharashtra and western NC region, as it was mentioned? Any possible reasons that could be given? Thank you.
You have to study.
Yeah. So based on the latest normal 1971 to 2020, we find that yes, there is decrease in rainfall activity over northeastern states and slight increase in rainfall activity over west central India, including Rajasthan and west Madhya Pradesh and Saurashtra and Kutch. So for further analyzing, what we have done actually, we have done some kind of climate variability and climate change analysis at the state level and the district level. So we find that if you consider the period of up to 2018, last 30 years period, the report is available in the website. So there are certain changes like this. It is also showing the similar trends, especially over Rajasthan there is a increasing trend and over northern states there is a decreasing trend. So if you look at the spatial distributions and temporal distribution, we could attribute that is because of the climate change. But the regional impact of the climate change with respect to specific districts, etc., needs further investigation.
Sir, a related question to that. If you are like, what are those parameters?
Please repeat.
Rainfall actually takes off. And what are those parameters on which you are analyzing climate change?
No, rainfall only.
The climate change impact is analyzed in terms of the first parameter is the temperature. And the temperature we consider the maximum temperature, minimum temperature and the mean temperature of the day. We also consider the temperature over the oceanic area, temperature over the land area for the country as a whole and for different regions. Thereafter, we consider the climate change impact in terms of the rainfall, that means the total amount of rainfall in the season, total amount of rainfall in a month, and also the distribution rainfall during month and season in terms of light rainfall, moderate rainfall, heavy rainfall, etc. Number of rainy days, dry days, etc. We also consider the impact of climate change in terms of the frequency of the severe weather events like say cyclones, thunderstorms, heavy rainfall, heat waves, cold waves, etc. Is it clear?
Any other questions?
So when we expect a report from you, now IMD India will IMD release the proper releasing 50-year average on can we expect on climate change or in last 50 years or last 100 years, whatever is possible?
Climate change is happening or
Yeah.
anything report.
Yeah, so we have already clarified that it is largely, if you consider country as a whole, it is largely whatever change you find in the decadal mean rainfall is basically because of the climate variability, decadal climate variability. But however, we have brought out a detailed climate change report in the form of a book which is published by Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology and is available in the website of MOES and IITM. So there you can find out the detailed assessment of the variation of various parameters over the different parts of the country.
Any other questions, please? If not, yeah, please go ahead.
इस साल कैसा रहा?
हाँ जी, आप रिपीट कीजिए क्वेश्चन.
सर इस साल मानसून असम मेघालय में कैसा रहेगा?
जो हमने इस बार लॉन्ग रेंज फोरकास्ट आज इशू किए हैं, इसके हिसाब से असम मेघालय एरिया में नॉर्मली जितना बारिश होता है इसमें लेस रेनफॉल होने का पूर्वानुमान किया गया है, यानी बिलो नॉर्मल रेनफॉल इस बार होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी ज़्यादा है.
थैंक यू सर.
So on behalf of the Ministry of Earth Sciences and India Meteorological Department, I first of all thank Mr. Shambhunath ji for making all the arrangements, and also thank the friends from the media who have come here and attended this press conference. And also would like to thank the people who have joined online for this press conference. With this we come to an end of this press conference. Thank you very much.